Hey, my name's Patrick. My team generated over $100 million of revenue for e-commerce brands last year, and give me just 10 minutes and I will optimize your ad account and make sure you're actually set up for scale. All right, in this quick video, I'm going to show you exactly why your ROAS might be lying to you and why you might be scaling off the wrong metric. So one thing that happened last week is I was checking out a $1.5 million supplement brand, and everything looked good at a quick glance. Like if you were just looking at the account and if you were just really going off of ROAS, you probably would have saw that like 4.48 ROAS, 3.13 ROAS for the two campaigns that are running, $10 cost per purchase. Wow, that's super profitable, right? But the e-commerce founders like, why aren't we scaling? Why aren't we growing? Well, at a quick glance, it looks like this brand is absolutely crushing it. $10 cost per purchase, 3 to 4x return on ad spend, high performing. Meta's telling you, hey, this is working so well, but why isn't this brand scaling? And I'm going to tell you exactly why. And so when I jumped in at a quick glance, I didn't even know the situation because I knew they weren't doing the best practices with Andromeda and just things looked good. So why does it look good, but we're not actually making more money? So my hypothesis was that Meta was simply spending on engage in existing customer segments. Now, this is something I see probably 60 to 70% of the time when I audit a Meta ad account, because in the old way of scaling an ad, you'd see like ROAS, like agencies, everyone would tell you that ROAS is a metric. It is not the metric anymore. You have to stop optimizing based on metric because of things like this. So what I did is I went to audience segments in the ad campaign. So you can go and look at the on the campaign level, and you can see our audience segment reporting set up. Immediately, I saw that engaged audience, existing customers are not defined. This is a big issue. So with Meta's Andromeda update, yes, they're telling us to go more broad. They're telling us to, not do as much detailed targeting. But it's very important that you have to feed the data. You have to feed the algorithm so it knows, okay, who's our customers, who is an engaged audience. That way, it can learn off that data, find more new customers like that, and then understand, okay, how much should we be spending on new customers versus on our existing customer base? So this is a huge issue. So right now, pull up your ads manager, check, is your audience segments, are they defined? Please check that right now. Okay, if they're not, then keep going here. So with Andromeda, you must feed Meta with your engaged audiences. So if you don't, Meta will simply optimize for the easiest path to conversion. So if you just keep it broad, it's optimizing for purchase. That means it's looking for the least friction, the least resistance way to get purchases, right? It's kind of doing its job. You're just not guiding it in the right direction. So what happens is, let's just say you launch this ad here, it'll go right to a hot audience, right? Because obviously the customers that are at the bottom of funnel here, they're most likely to convert. So they'll spend all that budget on that customer segment without spending on the cold and warm. Why? Because it is more expensive to attract cold customers, especially, right? It's going to take more budget. So Meta's just going for the layups. They're going for those easy shots to make the data look good. And it's not necessarily Meta's fault. It's your fault because you did not set it up the right way. So we helped them set up their audience segment. So first what we did is you can upload customer lists and or integrate Klaviyo for dynamic retrieval. So if you're a Shopify brand and you're on Klaviyo, super easy way to get those audiences set up. So what happened is after a week, once we got those audience segments set up, you can see you can do a breakdown on your ad account. Right here, you can do a breakdown by audience segments. So if you just go into your ad account, do breakdown by audience segments, it'll populate right under there, engaged audience, existing customers, new audience, unknown. Look at this. Before it was completely unknown because we didn't have the audience segment set up. Now, as data started to flow through, our hypothesis was 100% right. And new existing customers were getting majority of the spend right here. New audience was getting just a little bit of spend. You can see that majority of the purchases were coming through the existing customer rate. And what we need to do is we need to optimize for getting more purchases, more spend towards new audience. We want majority of our purchases coming from the new audience segment there. And yes, it's very normal to see, obviously your cost per purchase on existing customers is going to be way cheaper and new audience is going to be more. But if we're not setting this up, we're simply just spending money on customers that already know, like, and trust us. So when majority of budget is spent on that existing engaged customers, we're not scaling, right? That's your email, your SMS, your retention, and a little bit of retargeting on ads. That should be doing the job of getting our customers back and buying. We shouldn't be spending so much of our advertising budget on existing or engaged segments. So ideally, we want 80% of our budget attracting new customers. Okay, so how do we actually do that? Now, what I've seen over time is that Meta does optimize, like by itself if you keep things broad. But one thing that we do to make sure we force spend to new customers is at the ad set level, excluding customers. So what I recommend is probably start with 30-day purchasers, right? Monitor that audience breakdown. So monitor up here. So keep looking at this. And if things don't improve, where majority of spend goes towards new audience, then you simply want to make it colder, right? So you can start with excluding. So you go into the ad set level, you add exclusions, exclude 30-day purchasers, let that run for a week or two. If majority of spend is still going towards existing customers, then do a 90-day customer, right? You can exclude more and more customer segments. Now, I like a 30-day to 90-day, just depends on the account, depends on how the behavior is on the breakdown level. Because that way, yeah, we still want a little bit of spend going towards retargeting or reigniting, old customers that haven't purchased from us in a while. Like, sure, we might want to have a little bit of spend going towards there. But the main thing that we want to focus on, if you're a hyper growth e-commerce brand, is new customer acquisition. We do not want to, this is how brands always hit that ceiling, is that they're spending. Why aren't we growing? It's because we're just sticking exactly where we are. So here's what to expect, right? If you think that ROAS is the number one thing that you should be focusing on, you need to get that belief out of your mind, because what will happen when you do this structure is your ROAS will 100% guarantee go down, right? And so when customers or brands do that, and a lot of agencies won't tell you this because they just want to inflate their ROAS. They want ROAS to look good. They're still acting like it's 2020. This is not the case, right? So your ROAS will go down. We have some accounts that we're scaling at 1.2 to 1.5 ROAS, which is crazy, but it's because we actually know our numbers here. Because your cost per purchase will 100% go up on the meta side, right? It will go up. If you're at a $10 cost per purchase because it's all existing customers, it's going to go up. But new customers will increase. This is the biggest thing we have to focus on, is are we increasing new customer acquisition? And this may hurt your ego, but you're actually in the game now, attracting new customers, not wasting spend on existing customers, right? So know your numbers. So what you have to do to make sure you have a bulletproof front-end acquisition system in place is you have to calculate your break-even front-end CAC. So that includes looking at your unit economics, understanding what are your costs of goods sold, understanding shipping, maybe putting in a return rate multiple if that is something to make mind of, or keep in mind as you're calculating this number. And so what you get here is your true break-even front-end CAC. So let's just say $100 item, $30 cost of goods sold, $5 shipping, and we have a multiple that adds $2, so that's $37 in cost of goods sold. That means my break-even CAC is like $63 in that situation, right? So that gives us what is our true front-end break-even CAC. Now you want to also calculate your 90-day or 180-day lifetime gross profit. Now, depending on the brand, we work with a variety of brands from like one-time purchase, large electronics, all the way down to CPG brands that have a high lifetime value. We just want to understand what's the nature of your brand. What does the post-purchase journey look like for your customers? And that way we can dictate, okay, should we scale based off a 90-day lifetime value, 60-day lifetime value? Should it be 180-day lifetime value? And that way we can build our forecast all around these metrics instead of really just scaling blindly. So conservative brands aim for first purchase profitability, and we have plenty of brands that crush it at first purchase profitability. But in more competitive niches, right, like supplements for a great example, the high growth brands lose on the front end and optimize for lifetime value. And this is sometimes a hard pill to swallow for a lot of brands that aren't used to this methodology. But if you understand all the numbers and the numbers shake out, this is how brands scale extremely fast. So each month, you can calculate your blended new customer acquisition cost. So this isn't something that you're going to get in your Meta Ads Manager. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to almost look at your P&L or even just the your ads, how much you're spending on Meta, Google, other platforms, and then divide that by your new customers as reported in Shopify. That way, we get a blended new customer acquisition cost, which gives us a better idea, because that is more connected to the actual metrics, right? The Shopify metrics are accurate. Your spend from a broad blended level is accurate. That gives us kind of a monthly view of like, okay, are we moving in the right direction? Because it's very hard to like really calculate this on a daily or weekly basis. Of course, we're going to look at the meta data that's showing us. We're going to see the breakdowns, and we're going to make sure we have all these parameters in place. But doing that top-down analysis really helps us make sure we're on the right track. So if you do not have your audience segment set up, if you're not doing exclusions, if you are just optimizing for ROAS, you gotta implement this right now. And if you want me to personally audit your account so I can check out, hey, are you actually excluding customers? Are you actually scaling? Or are you just spinning your wheels in sand? Then I'll leave a link down below to book that free core growth audit. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.